Om. Srivatsangam Maharaskam Vanamala Virajidam Shankachakradharam Devam Krishnam Vande Jagagurum. Om Sri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. I bow to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, who carries a conch and discus in his hands and is adorned by a garland of white flowers. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvina Atitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us be protected. Let us be nourished. Let our studies be done with enthusiasm. And let these studies take us to the highest. And let there never be a cause for us to fight with each other. Om, peace. Let there be peace in the world, peace in this country, and peace in our own hearts. Hari Om, that's it. Sorry for the small delay, but it got stuck. So here we are. Today we are. We have already done the 4 ashramas. We did the 4 varnas before that, and the 4 ashramas. Out of that, we have now reached we have finished Brahmachari Ashrama last time, and a little bit of the Grihastashrama, but I am doing the Grihastashrama again because something very, very important for all of us, because majority of us are Grihastasthramis. So please listen to this very carefully. So he says, one who, sorry, just a minute, I'm just on the. So, the one who wants to get married should take, after brahmacharya is over, a person who wants to go into the Grihastashrama should marry a girl younger than him with a good family traditions belonging to his own varna. We've already discussed the varnas. Why is this necessary? Because that keeps up the purity of the blood strain. Hence we find in India, only in India, in Bharat you will find that we can trace the blood strain of people from Gotras from thousands of years ago. So that keeps up the purity of the blood strain. Marriage with lower varnas may be done only if it's absolutely necessary. This, as I said, this ensures the purity of the line and brings forth the best type of children and good citizens. Now, what are the main functions of a Grihastashrami? We've already told you what are the main things of a brahmachari in student time. Here, performance of all yajnas are to be done only by the Grihastashrama. Not the others are not supposed to do anything. They can, but they need not. During the brahmachari's life, of course, the guru will be doing the yajna, but he'll only be attending that. That's all. So the Grihastashrama should not only do yajnas, but learn the Vedas and give charity. This is all, of course, giving of charity and so on is the duty of all classes. But receiving charities, teaching the Vedas, conducting yajnas are exclusively the part of the Brahmin. If the Brahmin thinks that that his spirituality may be deterred if he accepts money, then he need not accept it. From the Brahmin we expect the highest. A lot of renunciation, a lot of tapas is expected from Brahmin. That is why such honor was also given to them. The Brahmin could never enjoy vulgar enjoyments. The others could. So his Brahmin's life is not meant for the indulgence. It is meant for a life of hardship, austerity, and for eternal bliss in the hereafter. So this is why the lofty ideals are given to the Brahmin. So greatest respect was given to such a Brahmin. Nowadays, of course, the Brahmins are even worse than the Shudras, so that be really in a very bad state. That is why Hinduism, the fall of Hinduism is due to the fall of the Brahmin class from their high ideals. Now, the Kshatriya's duty was what? I've already said all this, but to protect the subjects from all dangers as a father does his children. He's like a father. Like a raw elephant, elephant, the head of a herd. He will not only save himself, but he'll save his whole herd. So the king should be a savior of all. And if a king does like that, puts his citizens before himself, like Sri Rama did for himself. That's why during the reign of Rama is known as Ramarajya. There's never been a time like that before. Because he accepted the need is the Pancha Mahayajnas. Pancha Mahayajnas are known. So, that is first of all is the Brahma Yajna, Veda Yajna. Then we have the Deva Yajna. Then we have the Pitra Yajna. Then we have the Bodha Yajna. And Manusha Yajna or the Aditi Yajna. Brahma Yajna is the study of the Veda. And reading the books and their words, isn't it? So, and doing all the sadhanas as given in the Vedas and given by the rishis. Now, Deva Yajna, what is the Deva Yajna? Deva Yajna is offering to the gods. We can either do pujas, nowadays we pujas, but we also, offering to the gods in the fire or other things offered to the gods. People, as I said, we do puja, we do havan and so many that. Now, Pitra Yajna, we are all very conscious of the fact. In Bharat, we are conscious of the fact that we rest on the shoulders of the ancestors who have gone before us. Somehow or other, we may not remember them, we may not know them, but still their genes are running in us. So we have to be grateful to them for having given this life. So Pitra Yajna is offering made to the ancestors or the Pitrus. Like through Shraddh, Tarpanam. In Bharat, we have many things which help us. In fact, we have a whole fortnight, as you know, which is meant for giving blessing to the Pitrus. Now, then we have Bodha Yajna. Bodha Yajna is to the offerings. We should understand that we belong to the whole of nature. Without nature, we will not survive. If we want to survive, we have to see that nature also survives. So, Bodha Yajna is offering to the whole of nature. Watering plants, giving food to birds, other animals, and actually begging her pardon for having defiled the soil. In fact, when we get up from our bed, we touch the ground and say, we are supposed to ask her for forgiveness. Please forgive me, your mother, because I'm stamping on you. I'm going to stamp on you. Sometimes I kick you. Sometimes I dig you. I do so many things on you. So first of all, and of course now we have to ask more forgiveness because we are defiling her also. Finally, we have the Aditi Yajna or the Manusha Yajna. That is offerings to human beings. Human beings, whenever we can help any human being, we should certainly help them. And it is said, who is an Aditi or a guest? A guest, an Aditi is really a guest who's not been invited. Inviting someone to your house is one thing. But when an uninvited guest comes to your house, that is known as an Aditi. And the offerings of food and hospitality to guests that arrive uninvited, and of course to all other people, that is the Manusha Yajna, the Aditi Yajna. So these are the Pancha Maha Yajnas, which are incumbent on every Grihastashrami. All householders should follow this. Only then, and if they, by following these duties, as he has already said, you will keep evolving. Automatically you will keep evolving. Okay? So as I said, to be a follower of the Sanatana Dharma means to be continuously doing some duty or other to all other beings. This is the basis of the culture of the Sanatana, culture of the soil. That's why when we invite people come here, when Westerners come here, they're amazed how easily people, even very poor people, They will invite you to their house, give you tea, ask you to sit, and have some chit-chat with them. All these are very, very important part of our culture. So we are always conscious of the fact that we are part of nature, part of the cosmos, part of the social milieu, and therefore we must give back to the society, give back to the nature, give back to other people what they have been doing to us. To the devas, so first of all to the devas, to the rishis, to the pitris, to the human beings, to all animals and to all nature. This must be our nature. Our nature is to give and do our duty by all these other various creatures and people who are helping us to live in this world. So this is the Panchamahayajna, which is incumbent on every householder. No household can even aim at getting enlightenment if he does not do this. Each one of this has been done. Now he can also do other yajnas. He is not forbidden from doing other yajnas. He can use his wealth or something like that by asking people or giving. That's also he can get a Brahmin to Pujari to do this thing. So these yajnas also he can do it easily. That's nothing wrong with it. Now another very important part which very difficult I think will be for most people, very difficult. That is, he should never be over-attached to his family. Sometimes it's very difficult. He should realize that all enjoyments that come from the afterlife due to the yajnas that are performed here are also as perishable as those in this life. A lot of people, they do, in order nowadays not so much, they used to do yajnas in order to get some benefit in a future life. But he says, those also as ephemeral as what we are enjoying in this life. You do something in this life, you get some benefit. But you are doing yajnas in order to get benefit in heaven. That is also ephemeral, he said. It will not last. When you finish that, you go on a holiday with some money. And when you finish that money, what do? You come back. You have to come back. Nowadays, of course, all money is online and on something. But in olden days, it was like we used to carry some money with us when we went to some pilgrimage or something. And when that money is finished, you have to come back. So that's just how it is. Here also, even the merits that you have accrued in this life, and you hope to get benefit in another life, that also will come to an end, he said. They're as perishable. Those profits you are going to get in that life is as perishable as those here. Then you should also remember, very important thing, that all the associations you have with your wife, with your friends, with your sons, your daughters, your cousins, so many of them we have in this life. This is only a gathering of travelers meeting in a rest house. When everyone, all in a guest house, you may stay there for some days and enjoy each other's company and so on. Exactly like that, all these people who are coming, we meet in this life, like friends and family and cousins and wives or husband or all are. It's just a meeting, a chance meeting together, and it will not last. Like the travelers who live in that guest house will part the next day. So also, we will also part with those whom we call so dear to us, okay? These relations of every life will change with recurring births. You cannot be sure that your present wife will be your wife in your next birth, or the present children will be your children in your next birth. All this is only, we can't say anything with reality. So, they will also change. So, he should live in the house like a guest, without the feeling of me, mine, and mine, I want this, I have my children, my money, my wife, my husband. Without that feeling, he should spend like a guest house, as if he's a guest in that house. Which means that he'll be very, very sweet and loving to everyone. Because in a guest house, you don't go fighting with the other people around there. You are as kind and sweet to them as possible. So he'll be kind to all those, but he has this knowledge that this is also transitory. This is also Maya. All these relationships I'm having now, that is also Maya. That will also pass. And all the things pujas I'm doing in order to get a life after birth, after death, that was also Maya, the same thing. So I don't really have to, all I have to do is concentrate on what I'm doing now. So he says, but on the other hand, a person who is devoted to me can continue to live in his own life, in his own home, without going into a life of Vanaprastha sannyasa. The Grihastashrami who can live a life like that, totally, he's doing all his duties, yajnas are being done, everything is done by him, yet he is continuously devoted. Because he knows the only, the permanent thing in his life is God himself. So he hangs on to that. All these things change, but God will always be with me. If he hangs on to me, he said, then such a Grihastashrami need not even go to Vanaprastha or to sannyasa. Because in the Grihastashrama itself, he is continuing to live by offering everything to me, he says. If he does that, he can even continue living in his house. He need not go to the forest or to an ashram. But if he wants, of course, he prefers it, then he can take to Vanaprastha or live in an ashrama, or he can entrust everything to his son and take up to a life of sannyasa with no fixed residence. The sannyasi, really speaking, is not supposed to have a fixed residence. Nowadays, of course, so many ashrams are, sannyasis are there, but normally sannyasis are supposed to be wanderers, because whenever you stay for too long in any place, you become attached to it. And the sannyasi should avoid all attachment at all costs. So the householders who are constantly worried about family, I wonder what my family wonders, and such worry he has and he dies, obviously he will be born again. In fact, he will be born maybe in lower levels of evolution, because he's blinded by ignorance. He's so attached to his own family. So this chapter ends with this duties of the Grihastashrami, and next chapter he takes up Vanaprastha and sannyasa. So a person who wants to take up Vanaprastha, that is the third part of his life. That is 50 years to 75 years. Here, of course, the whole thing is human life is supposed to extend to 100 years. First 25 years as a brahmachari, student life. Next 25 years as a Grihastashrami, up to 50. From 50 to 75 as Vanaprastha, and 75 to 100 as sannyasa. Of course, you may die before that, but somehow you do whatever you can. So he should spend his life. The Vanaprastha ashram should spend his life. He can go to the forest or an ashram. He can spend his life in an ashram. He can leave his wife in the care of his son. Or if she likes to accompany him, she is most welcome. Vanaprastha ashram is offered to women. They can also go to the ashrama and stay there and live their life. Now, it is said that these are all you will find, it's a very too much for us. In the normal time, he should dress in deer skin and bark and all that, and subsist on roots and fruits and so on. Now, these may be difficult. That is why nowadays Vanaprastha, those who are anxious to take up Vanaprastha, in olden days, nowadays we have old people's home. There's so many old people's home because children can't be bothered to look after their parents. So they're old people's home. In olden days, we had ashramas. Ashrams where the old people, or they may not be that old either. You must realize they're only 50. 25 to 50 is the actual time for the Grihastashrami. So after that, if he is interested, the son has already got married and children are there, and he can go to an ashram. Instead of an old age home, he can go to an ashram. So there he should, the Vanaprastha is quite difficult. He said he should bathe 4 times a day. And in the summer he should sit near a fire and the sun on top of his head. In the rain and all that, he should expose himself to the rain. And even in the winter, he should submerge himself neck deep in water, that's the kriya known as Udhhava. That means living in the water. And main thing is, when you go to Vanaprastha, when you're going to go to ashram, say, You should not take all the things that you from the Grihastashrama. Take, oh, I need this and I do that and I must do this and I must take that and all these things that you take with you and go to the ashram and make a room as beautiful, as wonderful as in your home. That is not meant to be. In the ashram, you should try and subsist on the bare necessities, only that which is offered in the ashram. So, but he can take part in Vedic rituals and so on. So anyone asking questions, I feel we see a lot of questions. Please ask them same time tomorrow. We have a Q&A tomorrow. You can ask them. Okay. Then and then he says during the time of the Vanaprastha also, his main thing is that he has given up his life in the world, but he should concentrate on me and have as much as possible. He should bring his life totally to bear on, meditate on me, and try to get enlightenment, salvation in that very life. Now, if at a time he's still there and at a time when he gets a total disgust of life, he says, I'm sick of this, I'm just sick of this, same old this thing, because he sees that everything is only a Maya. Why am I wasting my time here? In living in this Maya world? Why should I? Like someone who's watching TV all the time, glued, because they have no other work. Many old people do that. So it's a Maya world they're watching. They're involving themselves in somebody else's life and getting a vicarious pleasure from that. Like that, here in this world, we are only getting a vicarious pleasure. If you involve yourself, what happens? You will get caught in the coils of Maya. And if you don't involve yourself and you're watching only, you will realize this is all a Maya world. Then when he gets a total disgust of life, then he can take to the life of sannyasa. And whatever possessions he has should be given to the needy. And you remember when Sri Rama goes to the forest, he gives up everything. That's a beautiful scene in the Ramayana when he gives up everything, wears bark and this thing and goes about. But Krishna very jokingly says, these devas, the gods actually, very jealous of people who want to go into take up sannyas. Very sincerely want to take up sannyas. The gods are jealous. So he says, the devas will go into the part of their wife or children and persuade him to leave. Why are you saying, my poor husband or my poor father, why do you stay so terrible at you? Please come away. Come, I'll give you anything you want. Come, let us go back home. We have such a beautiful home. I will look after you as the son and the daughter. But sometimes, after some time, when you get old and you can't do anything for yourself, they will also get fed up with you. So don't listen to them. Do not go back. The sannyasi should ignore them totally and go on. He should not keep any of his previous belongings to him. Because anything that we like in this life, when we keep it, then that very thing makes us remember that life. Oh, this mala, that is given to me by my mother when I was 10 years old. How can I leave it? Something like that. Huh? So he should. Then also, it is said that, the Jain monks, how they live, they take a broom and sweep in front as they walk. Because they don't want to stamp on any creature or anything. So here he should walk carefully, he says. The sannyasi should walk carefully so that he doesn't kill any creature on the road. And he should have minimum clothing also. He should not be wearing nowadays sannyasis are dressed so fabulously. They wear only the best of things. And the shawls and all they wear pashmina shawls. It's very strange. It does not, a whole lot of malas and drakshas and things in his ears and cluck in there. All these, Krishna says, Udhhava, because he carries a staff in his hands and a kamandul in his other hand, he does not become a sannyasi, he says. He should have what are the three staffs he should have? Not just this rod that he is carrying, not this. His three staffs are silence, breath control, desirelessness. Silence, breath control, desirelessness. The sannyasi should not talk unless asked. He should nowadays, sannyasis are constantly giving talks, talking, trying to, because that's another type of life by which they can live, that's all. They don't take up sannyas because they have a great dying to give away this world and only think of God. That is not the type of sannyasi that you meet here. No, he can take bhiksha. Bhiksha is when you ask your food. Sannyasi is not supposed to cook your own food. You understand? You can't cook your own food. So the sannyasi can take bhiksha from 7 houses, only from 7 houses. And he should not repeat the same houses every day. Another 7 houses for another day. Because otherwise he just won't tax the poor, Grihastashrami also. Whatever they give, they have for this thing, he should take it from 7 houses. Of any varna, remember this. He never says that you take only from the Brahmin house, or from the Kshatriya house, or from the Vaishya house. He can accept bhiksha from any house. 7 houses he goes, of any varna, without even thinking of what is the house or place that I'm taking this. So you see that varna was only varnashrama, it was only for the upkeep of the society. It was not something ingrained in our culture. It was only, I've already talked about this on the varnas, I won't go back on that. Only for the upkeep, the balance and the standard of living of the whole society improved when there were 4 varnas. Then he can go to a river bank or holy temple and sit there and partake, because he has no house of his own. He can partake of the food after having given it to someone else. Usually he's supposed to take some and put for the ants and little insects, or he can throw some for the birds or the crows or for the cows or whatever he can. After that only he is supposed to take for himself. Similarly, even the Grihastashrami is like that. We are told first we have to feed the birds. In the morning we have to feed the birds, give them food and water. If you can feed an animal, if you can feed a cow, very good. If you can't feed a cow, feed a dog or a cat or a monkey. Monkeys are plenty in Rishikesh. So anything, we have to feed some other creature before we feed ourselves. This is a very important point that is practiced by everyone, even by the sannyasi it is taken. So again, preferably the sannyasi, real sannyasi should wander alone in the world. Unattached, self-controlled, established the self. He should control his senses even when moving about. He sees many things, but the senses will automatically run after those things. But he should not be attached to them. He should control his senses. He should, and villages, preferably don't go into villages. Because, once you go into a collection of people where a collection of people are there, their vibrations will be there. Their vibrations will affect you. And you may feel sympathy for someone who's dying and he's being taken in the outside. You may feel happiness in some marriage procession. All this, best to avoid all that. For the sannyasi, it's best to avoid all that. You don't go to villages unless you are going there to get bhiksha. Only for that you should go. So otherwise he can go over the whole country, whole of Bharat, because there's so many holy places, so many temples in this country. He can go from north to south, visiting temple after temple. And most temples will even give food and shelter. So that is the type of life the true sannyasi should go. So he knows that this world is only a fleeting expression of the divine. It is an expression of the divine. He knows that, it is very good. This world is only a very fleeting expression. It's not it's only a temporary expression. It's not an eternal expression of the divine, this world, okay? He knows. So he knows, why should I go after that? I can get eternal grace. I can get it, not just temporary satisfaction, but Bhagavan has promised me eternal grace. So why should I go after this world? Therefore, he forsakes all the objects in the world. And whenever possible, he should remain meditating on the self. Sorry, it was disconnected for a while. He should not get dejected when he fails to get some good food which he likes, tasty food. That's another thing. You should not eat food with things like, this is so tasty, this is so wonderful, so nice, and this is terrible, this woman doesn't know how to cook. You are not supposed to judge that. You take food only so that the body has to be given something until it drops. So that is your duty, to look after the body until it drops. Isn't that so? So this is so. Everything he does should not be. That's a very important point. When the sannyasi does these beautiful things, questions should be asked tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow questions. I cannot waste my time on questions today. So when he does all these things, I mean, everyone looking and says, what a wonderful person he is. He has no desire, no this thing for anyone. He does these things not through compulsion. Not because he thinks, if I do this, I will get a good life in the afterlife. If I do this, I'll get some benefit, I'll get some great things that will come to me. No, it's not even for the sake of the heaven or for a salvation. He should do good things because he's a free spirit. His nature is to do good things. The sun shines and the water falls, rain falls and the flowers bloom. Not because they think they're going to. Sorry, it was paused due to poor connection. Anyway, such a person who does things automatically because it is his nature to do so, when that his body falls, Bhagavan says he's already one with me, even before his body fell. The body was only just a body. He was already one with me. So when his body falls, automatically he is with me only. When that mud pot filled with Ganga gel is submerged in the river, is submerged in the Ganga, when that pot breaks, where can the water gel go? Into the river, into the Ganga from which it was taken. Similarly, that the body of the body, when it falls, such a person is always doing these things out of his very nature. He is already one with me, he said. So, unless that man is strong enough to do all this by himself, the sannyasi can stay on with his guru and do things for him with great devotion. One who takes up sannyas only as a show is a traitor to the dharma, he says. Unfortunately, we see many people like that. They have worn the Pagandis, they are called. So, Adi Shankaracharya says some people wear a beard and wear saffron robes and chant and jab, all there. It's only a big show. So, such a person who takes it up is a traitor to the dharma and will lose both this world and the next. He's already lost this world. He's given up everything in this world. And he's going around jab, trying to fool others that he's a great soul. So he does not enjoy this world, and certainly he will not be taken to the greatest of the... So the principal dharma of the sannyasi is actually the practice of universal love and wanting to do universal good to everyone. The principal duty of the Vanaprastha is austerity, introspection, meditation. Of the Grihastashrami is to service to all and performance of yajna, of the brahmachari in the service of the teacher and keeping up his viryam in order that he gets all strength at the end of this thing. Householder also should practice brahmacharya and consort with his wife only at prescribed times, because this virya, as I've already said, is a very powerful, most powerful agent actually in life, which can create a life. What could be greater than that? But when it is dissipated in different ways, like a river, if a river is channeled and put here and there, goes here and there, it loses its force. If it channeled in one thing and going on in one thing, then it will have great effect. So also the Grihastashrami should practice brahmacharya and consort with his wife only at certain times, at prescribed time. Not constant, it should not be used as if it's a prostitute or something like that. So the one who worships me, he says, following his swadharma, because that was the question Uddhava asked. Hey Bhagavan, please tell me, How can the people who follow the Varnashrama dharma by doing the duty, how can they attain you? So he answers that the one who worships me following his Swadharma, intent on me, will attain devotion to me and attain salvation. By following the rules of the Varnashrama alone will only lead to the world of the ancestors. If you follow only these rules, you will only go to the Pitraloka. Understand? But when it is done out of devotion to me, he said, it will lead to liberation. That is to say, even though you're doing all these different ashramas, you're doing it very, very beautifully. Even then, the idea is, I am offering all this only to you. That devotional aspect you must bring into the duties of the Varnashramas. Devotional aspect, when it's added to the perfect doing of the duties of the Varnashrama, that will automatically lead to liberation. That's the question which Udhhava asked. So, you understand? So far Krishna has been giving the normal rules for Vanaprastha and a sannyasi. And actually, when you all listen to this to us who are used to such a life of luxury, this would seem as if, how can we possibly live like this? Huh? Hence he goes on to say, one to whom spiritual knowledge is not just a mere theoretical understanding as a matter of a debate, but who has experienced as truth for himself, will surrender to me, totally surrender to me. That is to say, these spiritual ideas are so wonderful, so great, that many intellectuals will follow them because they are so wonderful. They make such an impact on you. When you first listen to Advaita and to Vedanta, it is such an amazing, amazing concept. So, they can debate. They'll go to debate. They'll answer. Some people say this is wrong, and they'll keep on debating. He says, such a person who has understood that this is not a matter for debate, but actually a matter for experience, such a person will definitely, then he realizes, my God, this entire creation, this whole cosmos, is upheld by that one force alone. Why should I bother with anything else? Let me surrender totally. Sarva dharman paritteja mam egam sharanam raja is what Krishna says. All these dharmas which I've been doing all through, I have surrendered everything to you and total surrender to you alone. So he will surrender the world and the knowledge also that negates it. He not only surrenders the world, but knowledge of its being only Maya. He surrenders everything. Even Maya is Maya. I don't care. This world can come and go. Many things can happen. I need nothing else but you. This is called Vidvat Sannyasa. That means through knowledge, you know totally that everything is only a dream. It's enlightened renunciation. Such a person knows that I am the end and the means and the goal and everything. I am the beginning and the end as well as the means of salvation. When that is why Krishna at the end of the chapters only, he said, Sarva dharman paritteja mam egam sharanam raja. Having given up all other dharmas, have recourse to me alone. Have recourse to me alone. Because I am both heaven and liberation. I am everything. So why should you go? I will take care of you. Aham tva sarva bhabebhyo mokshayishyami ma shujaha. I will remove all your sins and give you moksha. Why do you worry, is what he said. This is exactly the same thing he's telling on Udhhava. Such a person will attain my transcendental state. And he says, such a person is most beloved by me. And actually he's hinting that Udhhava himself is such a person. A person, he has no need. He doesn't need anything except Krishna. His whole life was only bound with Krishna. He followed him wherever he went. He ate the remains of his food. He wore the clothes and the garlands that Krishna wore the previous day. He was totally immersed in Krishna Maya, and his loga was Krishna Maya. Such a person will attain my transcendental, and he said, and such a person, Udhhava, is most beloved by me. He lives in me through knowledge because he knows that nothing else is real. That knowledge is there. So to live with him just by admiring and to live with that knowledge that he encompasses everything. That such a knowledge is not attained by anything, austerity or going to pilgrimages or charity or any other holy disciplines. That knowledge comes as a gift, as a grace from God himself. When you are following such a life, when you have given up, surrendered your entire thing to him, that knowledge that is nothing else except him comes automatically. It is not got by following so many other things. All these other things are necessary. Mantras, charity, tantras, yantras, havans, everything is necessary until you reach to have this knowledge. Once this knowledge, it's not just the knowledge but the experience. Once you have that experience that everything is him, that he takes care of everything, that you have just to relax and do everything automatically as an offering to him, such a person doesn't need anything else. Therefore, Udhhava, knowing yourself to be one with me through an enlightened understanding, that understanding is there. That understanding which gives you experience. The experience is there. Now, not that you see the sweet, but you're actually eating the sweet also. When that experience of the sweetness of such a life is there, you naturally adore me with all your heart, is what he said. And Udhhava's eyes, filled with tears. He prostrates to himself again and again throughout this talk with him. Bhagavan is lying down on a cot, actually. On a cot he lies down. Udhhava sits at his feet. And he for some time he sits at his feet. Then he sits in front of him on the floor and looks at him and as he talks. And he devours him because he's so much in love with Krishna. Everything, he sees only Krishna everywhere. What can he do? He can only... And he doesn't really need this knowledge also. But he keeps asking because he wants, through him, that the rest of the world which is to follow. So he says, such an experience you have, Udhhava, adore me with all your heart. Because the ancient rishis did this. They made an offering of their knowledge to me and realizing, for I am the Yajna Purusha. All the yajnas and the yagas which they did, why did they do it? They did not do it for the gain that they could have. Actually, when those yajnas were made by the rishis, they did not do it for what that they can get heaven. They were already in heaven. They already had liberation, these rishis. So they did it because he is the Yajna Purusha, how to worship him. Through this yajna, worshipping him, the master of all yajnas. That is why they gain the highest of all. Then he says the three bodies that everyone has. That is the physical, mental and intellectual. These are actually which we all have. We have the physical body, we have the mental body, the intellectual body. These are only passing appearances. Because they don't stay on when the body falls. When the body deteriorates and falls, these three also fall. They are not there at the beginning. They are not there at the end. Because it's constantly changing also. All the time this body is changing. This body which is so youthful and young and beautiful at one time has become old and wrinkled and grey and so on. So it's always changing. So they are only passing experiences. They are not the reality. Now, change is only a phenomenon of the middle portion of your life, where it appears as if you are a person, you are a personality, you are this, you are a great person, you are beautiful, you are ugly, you are fine, you are clever, you are stupid. All these things is the middle portion. Where was this person before it entered as an embryo into the womb? Where will it be after that body falls and it perishes in the fire? You don't know. Neither where you came from, nor where you're going to. All we know is this middle portion. So all this about the body, the mind, the intellect, and all this changing phenomenon is only a middle portion of experiencing this world. The Atman actually existed before the body came into being and will exist after the body falls. Okay? That Atman, you have to accept that the Atman has been, so the Atman has been there in the middle also. It was there before, it will keep on before, after. Obviously, it should be in the middle also. Though it is hidden by these changing forms that are only appearances. It's a very important point. It looks as if while we are here, oh, I don't know, where is this Atman? You're talking about Atman. I don't. It was there. What came? What came with you when you were born? What will remain after this body dies is that Atman, that divine self, eternal self. Therefore, that self should be with you now also. While you're talking, while you're eating, you're acting, you're sleeping, that Atman is always in you at every moment. So that which was existed before and will exist afterwards will always, is also existing now. It has come. It came into being. It is not as if it came into being at one time. It did not. It was always existing. This is the same with the universe. It comes into being at a certain point of time, appears to be real through subsists for some time. This whole universe, and then it dissolves after that. Same, exactly like the changing body, but it of course lasts for much longer. That's all. Many light years it lasts for. That universe which we see there, from which the series of changes you call the world started. It started from somewhere. It started from that universal spirit. And this, what is this world? It's only a series of changes. It's constantly changing. This series of changes is what you call the world. Like the film show on the screen. But even when that drama comes to an end, the theatre will continue. Sorry, it pauses due to some poor connection because of the weather. Therefore, you have to conclude that it is existing throughout, even the middle portion. So actually, Udhhava is the example of the perfect Jnana Bhakta, which is the very height of enlightenment. He has both Jnana and Bhakti. That means he knows everything. Though he knows, he doesn't pose as a great, sannyasi or a great pandit or anything like that. That his jnana is nothing. What is our jnana compared to the all knowledge of that divine presence of that divine being who's omniscient, omnipresent? How much do we know? We know nothing when we think about how that being knows what has happened before, what will happen thousands of years later. It knows everything. How much we know. So that jnana on which we pride ourselves, that I know everything, I'm a great soul, that is nothing compared. But because Udhhava is also a bhakta, he realizes that. He realizes that only that love, that total surrender to that infinite being, that divine being who has existed always, is existing now, and will exist even after my body life. Such a person is the Jnana Bhakta. And sannyasa and tyaga came automatically to him. He did not have to look for it because he had lived such a life. He didn't have to force himself to do it. It came automatically to him. This is the greatness of the Udhhava's this thing. So, but Udhhava keeps asking questions again and again because he wants other people to understand what Krishna is talking about. So, tell me, so he says again, tell me, once again, that ancient gospel of renunciation and realization through devotion, which even the gods have not been able to attain. The gods somehow did not have devotion. They were too great. They thought of themselves as being too great. Because all of them have certain powers, you see. These powers make you feel as if you are great. So the gods, normally you find, they don't have devotion. The devotion, the ability to be devoted to something which is above oneself, something which is so amazing and so infinite and so eternal, is only by the human mind. That is why it is said, only in the human body can we have salvation. That is why it says even the gods long for this thing in the human body, because only then they also can have salvation. So human beings are tortured by the three miseries usually. Physical, mental, supernatural. And we are the only one who can lift them out of this pit. Oh, hey Bhagavan, he said. All these, everybody, he's talking about other people. So many miseries. We have physical misery, mental, supernatural. Who can lift us out of this? When you look at everybody, anyone's life, take the life of even anyone who you think is so rich, so wonderful, so beautiful, everybody loves, you will find out that they have some misery in their life. Unless they have that surrender to God, they will also always have some misery in their life. So, he says, who can lift us up? We have fallen into that pit of samsara. So, despite being bitten by the serpent of time, he says, we still hanker up the petty little enjoyments of life. There's the classic example given of human life is about a man who falls into a pit. As he falls, he hangs on. He hangs on to a branch of the tree. And the branch is in a very precarious condition. He looks to see that the tree actually is being gnawed by some rats and all that at the bottom. It can collapse any minute. And on the branch itself, there is a snake slowly approaching. Then he looks down and he can't believe it. There are more snakes and big rocks and all. If he falls down, finish. That's the end of him. And then he looks up and there is a hive of bees. And these bees are also hovering around him and trying to bite him. But in the middle of all these things, he looks and sees there's one drop of honey is falling. And he puts out his tongue to lick that honey. This is the state of every human being. We are being chewed up by the rat of desire. We are being eaten up by the serpent of time. Slowly. Invariably, inevitably, it is catching up with you. But in the middle of all these things, we are still looking for some tiny bit of honey somewhere or other. Some little discourse, some little, holiday, some little pleasure we can squeeze out of this drama called life. This is our state. That's the state of the human being that is said in one of our things. So, so instead of somehow you find that despite all these, we still hanker for these. That's Udhhava's question. Despite all these, people still hanker for some of the excitement in life. So tell me, he says, why is it that people enjoy Pachem? And next day we will take this, because very fine you find that Bhagavan gives us the answer through the mouth of his devotees. Instead of giving the answer himself, he allows his devotee to get all the credit. In this case, he chose was Bhishma. So after the next class, we will be taking that how the Yudhishthira went to Bhishma and asked him this very question, and you will get the answer which Bhishma gave. Okay? So now many people I know have been asking questions. So I do request all of you to please come tomorrow at the same time, 11 to 12, and you may ask all the questions you want, and if I can, I'll be happy to answer it. Okay. Hari Om. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhave Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Hari Om. That's it. May you all be blessed by the